Hello, everyone. Welcome. And on behalf of Schein Orthodontics, thank you for joining us today. For COVID-19, don't cancel patient appointments, confirm and connect. Presented by Dr. Leon Klempner and Amy Epstein. Before we begin, I want to let you know that we are going to be recording the webinar. So later, in approximately 1 week, on henryscheinortho.com/webinars, the recording will be available if you'd like to review it. Also, if you have any questions in the chat, not in the chat, in the questions area of GoToWebinar, please enter your questions there. And as long as we have time at the end of the webinar, we will absolutely respond to your questions. Now we'd like to introduce the program to you and our speakers for today. The coronavirus COVID-19 epidemic has seriously disrupted our lives and businesses. Like many others, the orthodontic industry is dependent on face-to-face interactions, and practices are feeling the effects of the important measures put in place to limit exposure. The goal of this webinar is to share available digital technologies and strategies and help you continue monitoring your patients for aligners, active treatment with braces, phase 1, recalls, retention, and even consult with new patients. Dr. Leon Klempner and Amy Epstein are co-founders of People in Practice, a digital marketing consultancy exclusively for doctors, and co-hosts of the Survival Guide to Orthodontics, a podcast dedicated to making you the authority in orthodontics to prospective patients in your community. They understand the orthodontic practice because their expertise comes from 40 years of private practice and a combined 40+ years of marketing experience. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Leon Klempner and Amy Epstein.
Thank you, Marie. I'm Dr. Leon Klempner, and I'm going to start the presentation. And halfway through, I'll switch seats here, and my partner and daughter, Amy Epstein, will continue. I wish we were talking under different circumstances. You know, as Marie said, I've practiced ortho for a good 40 years and have never come across anything like this before. And I know it has affected all of us in different ways. And certainly for the orthos out there, there's a concern about the economics, maintaining your practice, maintaining your staff, a lot of anxiety about how you're going to be serving your patients. And I get that. But there's also a lot of anxiety that your patients have as well. They're concerned about who's watching me, who's taking care of me, are things going the way they should go? Am I going backwards in treatment? They have a lot of anxiety as well. And with all of this going on, it's difficult to see clear and make good decisions. I mean, I don't think we have really great choices, but I do think we do have to make good decisions. So the topic today is going to revolve around incorporating virtual appointments into our practice. And I understand the controversy about it. I'm on all the Facebook groups. I speak to orthos on a daily basis. So I know that there is some pushback regarding orthodontists utilizing some of the telehealth technologies, particularly as it relates to direct-to-consumer companies out there. And what I'm saying to you right now, and I really want to make this crystal clear, is that what I'm talking about has nothing to do with direct-to-consumer. The similarities are minimal. I'm talking about a physical exam, a radiograph, and records before any patient starts any treatment at all. But virtual appointments give us a lot of leverage during these uncertain times. And the big question right now is, how long is this going to last? I mean, if it was going to be a month, I think we could just kind of muddle through it and just say that we're closed and we're, we're good citizens and we're adhering to all of the rules and regulations and sheltering in. But it's not going to be a month. It hasn't been a month. But we don't know. Is it going to be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? How is that going to impact us? So what I'm saying here is that we should be hoping for the best, meaning we go back to work in a couple of weeks, but we really need to be prepared for the worst, which is the likelihood that things won't return to normal that quickly. And if we just do a quick look at the number of patients that we see on a daily basis and what it means to be closed and canceling those appointments and what it will mean to us when we reopen, I think it's eye-opening. And I believe the strategy there is just impossible. And if you think about it, if we just go till May 1st, so 1 month, 50 patients a day, that's 1,000 patients that need to come in. If we go to June, it's 2,000. July, it's 3,000. There are some estimates that some parts of the country won't peak until a month or two from now. And if we're seeing 100 patients a day, that doubles it. All of those patients all wanting to come in on the same day as soon as you open up. To me, the advantages of getting out in front and utilizing the virtual technology allows us a lot of leverage. We can avoid a PR disaster. We're not going to go from a stop sign, a red zone, to a green zone automatically. Even if we were to go back and start seeing patients, we're going to be limited in terms of how many patients we could see. Social distancing, physical distancing will still be a factor. The strategy of working 6 or 7 days a week, paying a staff time and a half, to me just makes no sense. It makes much more sense to start putting staff back to work, start alleviating the patient apprehension, and start rebuilding our trust with our patients, as well as reduce the likelihood of them stopping their monthly payments, showing some value. And at the same time, we could start some new cases. So I'm recommending a two-pronged approach. One, virtual appointments. These are going to be appointments for patients currently in treatment. And two, virtual consultations. This is new business for us, either new patients, phase 1 recalls, or observations. So let's take the current base patients that are currently in treatment with us. And let's talk about a strategy of addressing that, because I think that is the most important. I think we have to begin by announcing that we're not canceling and we're not closed. We have the ability to see them virtually. And this is how I would play it out in terms of a workflow. Let's say your next full day of appointments are on Monday. On Friday, the staff will call to confirm, not to cancel, but to confirm the visit and advise mom or the patient that the practice has adopted some brand new telehealth software that will enable Dr. Leon, in my case, to continue to evaluate and oversee Maya's treatment and discuss it personally with you. We're going to text and email you or email you 2 links, very simply. One of them is going to be a photo uploader link, and the other one is going to be a video conference link. Dr. Leon will review the images that you send, and we're going to speak together on your scheduled appointment time at 3:30 on Monday. And in terms of the technology, I'll talk about some options for you, but basically, it could be very, very simple. And if you email me, we did a sample video for our clients that I'll be happy to share with you that confirms the appointment and explains the virtual process. So what happens on Monday? The staff calls and makes the connection. There's some social chit chat that normally would occur. And then the staff member says that Dr. Leon, I know Dr. Leon had a chance to study Maya's photos, and hang on, I know he wants to speak with you, so hold on while I get him. He's right now speaking with another mom. And then the staff member will conference in the doctor, and the doctor will have already had an opportunity to take a look at the chart. So I recommend that you have access to your patient management system so you can read a little bit about what happened on the last visit or two. And what could they talk about? Well, you know you can't change arch wires, obviously, but you can discuss oral hygiene. You can tell mom you're a little concerned about Maya's lower left in the back where the gums are getting a little inflamed. You can ask about elastics if they're wearing them. Maybe they have a motion appliance in, and you can have a look and see if spaces are opening up and then things are going as expected. You can check power chain. You can have them floss in between, see if the spaces still exist. And at minimum, you could tell mom that you've checked all of the brackets. They're all in place. I've checked the upper and lower wires. They're in place. If they're wearing aligners, you can give them an idea of how they're doing and how they're tracking, whether they need more chewies or continue. You could check retainer, see how it's fitting. But the bottom line is we can't do treatment. And this isn't designed for treatment. This is designed to reassure your current patients, to redevelop the relationships, to show some value, and to give them an opportunity to discuss with you any concerns that they may have. And most importantly, you get to reschedule that appointment. So that appointment now comes out, and after your discussion with mom, Sally, if you can reschedule Maya, I'd like to see her in 8 to 10 weeks. But mom, I want you to know that I'm as close to you as your phone. If you have any issues, any problems, Maya has anything going on that I need to know about, I want you to know you can contact me at any time. Um, um, we're going to mail you some new elastics. We're going to send you some wax if you need it. We'll mail out your aligners. But the bottom line is, if there's any issues, you let us know, and we'll see you on your next visit. Done. This is going to be about a 2-minute talk on the phone, and then the appointment gets rescheduled. So that's how you could handle your current patients in a way that shows that it's a care appointment. And I know there are many states where it's forbidden, let's say, to do virtual treatment, and I get it. But is it forbidden to call your patients and see how they're doing, if they have any problems at all? To me, I don't think so. But I'm not an attorney. Check with your local dental society. But to me, reestablishing that relationship is crucial on so many different levels. But it doesn't have to be limited to that. We can also attract new business. And this is a sensitive part, and I get it. We don't want to appear opportunistic. Um, but I would have my TC, if I were practicing now, I would have my TC go back and recall all of those scheduled appointments that I canceled, and I would give them the option of having a virtual consult with the doctor. This applies to observation appointments as well. And I would let them know that we can virtually see them. We can answer most of their questions. I know we can't start them. We can't take a pan. We can't do a physical exam, but we can answer questions like, am I a good aligner candidate? Can you give me an idea of how much it's going to cost? Can you tell me if my insurance is going to cover it or how much it will cover? Can you tell me what your financial arrangements are? What's your initial payment and monthly payments? All of this can be handled by your TC in anticipation to a physical exam and records when they're ready to start. So we can get all of this out of the way ahead of time and actually have a group of new patients ready to get started the day that we're ready to see them and bring them in. And some of the practices I know are offering some sort of incentive for patients that are willing to start payments now. And they're offering a discount if they're willing to do it, a bookkeeping courtesy. And again, this is a sensitive area. I wouldn't recommend it to every single new patient virtual consult, but I would let your TC use their judgment. So at the end of the consult, they might say, okay, we're all set, we're ready to go. But, let me mention one thing to you that, Dr. Klempner has authorized me to allow a $500 bookkeeping courtesy if you're in a position to start your monthly payments now. It's not anything that's a requirement at all, but if that's something that's of interest to you, just let me know. So communications become very important. And Amy's going to talk a little bit about some of that sensitivity and how we can adjust our social marketing, but it doesn't preclude starting new business. I know on some of the Facebook pages, some of the orthodontists there have said, who in the world would ever, want to pay without even coming in for a physical exam? And my answer to that is the same people who pay in full, because you give them an incentive, you give them a discount, and a certain percentage of people will do that. So, so the communications using telehealth technology to serve your patients, I think, could be extremely valuable on a lot of different levels. Before I turn it over to Amy, let me just quickly talk about some of the technology. It's some of the questions I frequently get asked. So let me see if I can get out in front of some of your questions. So I'm seeing two pieces of technology that we need. One is a photo uploader, a way of seeing photos. I see the value in that as an orthodontist because I want to know ahead of time before getting on a video call what I'm going to say and what I'm looking at. And there are a lot of options. Dental monitoring comes to mind because they've been in the forefront of this virtual movement. And they have artificial intelligence that allows for tracking. And Amy and I have moved many of our current clients to dental monitoring over the last year or so. And I can tell you that those practices are just humming along right now. I mean, it's business as usual for them. So they're way out in front of things, but you don't need that right now. Dental monitoring's offered a product called SmileMate, and SmileMate is a way that you can capture photos, and it has a web portal, so it makes it very convenient, and it can actually capture photos, relatively quickly and easily. Dental monitoring also has another product called Photo Monitoring Lite, which has an app that the parent will have that allows for two-way texting, which can be extremely valuable in these times, and also has a web portal. SmileSnap is, in my opinion, an excellent new patient application that would allow you to put a widget on your home page for new patients to connect with you. And as of the last week or two, now has video conferencing built into it as well if you upgrade. Rhinogram's been around a long time, a leader in two-way texting. They have a great dashboard. They have a back-end flow that allows you to triage patients to the financial person. You can get insurance information. It's a great product. All of these you can do, short, testing on and before you make your purchase. And then there are simple things. Your web developer can put an app that allows you to upload. And you can upload via your cell phone. So you don't have to get all that fancy. The disadvantage of those two is that it comes via email instead of a portal, which makes it a little complicated. In terms of video conferencing, you all know GoToMeeting and Zoom have been around a long time. They're relatively easy to use, although there is some technology and downloading involved. Doxy.me, DOXY.me, has a little virtual waiting room and is so easy to use. It's just a simple link. So new patients can connect there quickly. SmileSnap, as I said, has video conferencing, but again, you don't have to go fancy. FaceTime, WhatsApp, Google Hangouts, or at minimum, a simple phone call, a care call, anything to connect that way. As you know, HIPAA requirements have been lifted so that we have a lot of flexibility. So I am going to turn the mic over to my partner, Amy. Going to talk about the importance of communication and why you don't want to go dark in this environment. This is the worst time that you could go dark. So hang on while we switch chairs.
Hi there, I'm Amy Epstein. Recently, because of everything going on, my family and I have moved in here with my dad and my mom, and so life is much better now that we're all together. So I am here to talk to you a little bit about getting the word out to both patients and new patients about the fact that you are still open. Once you've made the decision to move to a virtual practice, it doesn't make sense to get all the technology in order and then not tell anybody. So, with patients, it's fairly simple. As soon as you can do it, you want to tell them that you're open on every platform available. The general message is that we're virtual now, and your appointments will be moving forward as scheduled, and we'll reach out to you individually to see, what's best for your family. But essentially, you're trying to get out as soon as possible so that they don't reach out to you asking you, all right, am I canceled? Are we postponing? What's the story? It's just logistically and from a communication standpoint, it's hard when they start doing that. So sending out a blanket statement to everyone, letting them know, we're in business here, looking forward to seeing you. So where to say it? Most of you will have social media platforms. You'll have a Google My Business profile. So essentially you want to make sure that you have a social post on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Google My Business. Many don't know that Google My Business actually has, Google My Business is that rectangle on the right side of a Google search that shows your practice and all the relevant information. It has also the ability to make posts. So I would suggest having a post there as well. So then after you have your social posts lined up, you just want to make sure that you hit on some basic points. So, we're moving appointments to texting and video. If emergencies, here's what you do. If you need aligners, here's what's happening, and just bullet it out so it's very easy. And be sure that if you have a virtual consult happening, I know this is meant for existing patients, but for new patients, put it in there, because many of your existing patients are your brand ambassadors. They're the people that are telling their friends about the fact that you're the orthodontist to go to. So to make sure that they know that you're still seeing consults virtually. And then you reach out to them individually as their appointment comes up in order to confirm their appointment, just like my dad said, and let them know how it's going to work. The next thing you want to do is make sure that there's a blog post or something up on your website that speaks to this. So any virtual platform that you have, you want to make sure that there's some messaging there. One easy way is just, post a blog post. And if it shows up on the homepage as like a new post is here, that's great. If not, talk to your web developer, because they may be able to do a bar at the top that says important patient care alert for COVID-19 or something like that gets them to click it right away. Some of you have scrolling sliders on your homepage that show images of patients and their beautiful smiles. We've replaced sliders, just one slide, with important update due to COVID-19, and it's clickable and it goes right over to the blog post. But you just want to make sure that this message is also on your website. Please don't, you may have gotten an email from Google saying, okay, if you're temporarily closed, please click here and cite that. But we're recommending that you don't do that. First, don't mess with your hours on Google, because it can affect SEO, search engine optimization, or how high your website shows in a Google search. But moreover, this is what it looks like. And so we want to avoid anything that has a big red bar on it saying we're not open, because that is just not going to be the case if you're seeing people virtually and if you are scheduling virtual consults. And this is also a little difficult to undo. So it's in the Google My Business backend. If you manage Google My Business, it's like an easy toggle. We're closed, we're open, and in some cases, some doctors have done that. Just seems like the prudent thing to do, but it takes a while to undo that, and it doesn't look fantastic. You can reach out if you did that and you need help undoing that. So let's talk a little bit about potential new patients, what to say to them. It's very simple. Contact us for your virtual appointment, have a face-to-face with the orthodontist, talk about your treatment options, whether you're a candidate for aligners. We're here to talk through what's right for you, and with a link. It's fairly simple. Here's an example of something that an example of an ad or a post that might go up. This one was on Facebook. We also recommend on all your social media platforms that this go out. So digital advertising can reach people on Google, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So we are running these types of campaigns for our client, targeting the people who we know, this is specifically for Facebook and Instagram, targeting the people that we know will make the best new patients. These are the same people that we reach out to normally during non-pandemic circumstances, but we're reaching out to them now, letting them know that they can still speak with you about their concerns about their smile and how you might be able to help them. My dad mentioned an incentive early on. We're sort of holding back on that type of thing in the preliminary advertising and using that more as a sales tool in the discussions in order to see if they're interested in getting started. But as a first line communication, we're just talking about how the practice is virtual and you can still speak with the doctor as you would under normal circumstances. And then it links to the virtual appointment scheduler. There's either a link within the text, or there's a button that says schedule an appointment now, or reach out now, connect now. In our case, we develop programs that we run contests and things for our clients where we collect contact information of potential new patients. And so we have these types of databases that we've held on to, and we nurture these databases on an ongoing basis to make sure they know what's happening at the practice and lead them along the cycle to becoming a new patient. In this case, that's a database we need to make sure receives this content. So we develop custom email campaigns that go out on a regular basis that talk about the virtual consultation option. The patient list, your existing patients, emailing them or texting them, I think is also a good idea for parents, for siblings that might be interested. And like I said earlier, these are the people who are your brand ambassadors, and they might tell friends, hey, did you know my orthodontist is actually still seeing consults? So I know you were interested. I know you put it on hold, but maybe you can talk with them. And then understanding the sensitivity. Every practice is different. Every location in the country is different. And every, depending on where you are on this curve, it's going to be a different tone and tenor. So you'll have to have an overlay of sensitivity there that's specific to your practice. So on that note, I mentioned a minute ago about these contests and things that we develop, that we collect contact information and then add them to a database. So if you are wanting to engage in the community on social media in some way, the first thing is make sure that the tone of the posts that you normally put up changes. If you've subscribed to some subscription posting that's out there, just make sure that the posts have changed to be sensitive. Otherwise, it seems very off base. So focusing on being helpful to parents who are at home with children, on activities that might be helpful, keeping it positive and keeping it helpful is our strategy. Remember that the target audience is often parents, and specifically moms, if we're talking about Instagram and Facebook, of treatment age kids. And they're right squarely in the having to educate their children right now at home, having to deal with all of the household related issues that come up regularly, and then also if they're still working, managing that as well. It's just not easy. So resourceful content is helpful to them. And then community engagement. So going back to that contest, if you want to be involved in the community in some way, one idea is to do something like this, a small business focused giveaway where perhaps you buy a gift certificate to a local restaurant that you'd like to support, and then you make a matching donation to a local hospital, let's say, is a good way to get people to like, comment, share, and if you have the technology to be able to share their contact information in order to enter to win. And it's pretty simple. A lot of restaurants in certain areas are supporting hospitals and sending food their way. So by buying a gift certificate that you can give away to one of your patients or a potential new patient is a nice way to not only show that you're sensitive to what's happening in your community, but actually support the community. And then it's a nice bonus to be able to give something away to a family in your community. I want to talk a little bit about reputation management. Reputation management is the reviews that are out there. You want to make sure that the first thing you do is monitor your social and review profiles for any new reviews that have come up. You definitely want to make sure that there isn't something out there that you don't know about, that you haven't responded to or haven't dealt with. The second is that if you're actually actively asking for feedback or reviews at the moment, we recommend shifting toward Facebook as the platform, as it's not only a review site, but it's also a social platform. So it ends up being the nexus of people's communication with their communities and their schools and their friends. And so it's a good place to go. And it's also Facebook now, it's not reviews, it's recommendations. So it's a little bit of a softer way of asking for someone to post something about your practice, is by asking them to leave a recommendation instead of a review. So we're moving toward Facebook. And then, so to activate this, when you see something nice or hear something nice, after you've done a virtual appointment with a patient, ask them if they wouldn't mind sharing their feedback as a recommendation, and then say you'll send them a link, and it's just a link to your Facebook page /reviews. And we had a situation just not long ago where a mom posted something on the practice page that said, we had a great experience. We met Kathy. We loved our Zoom check-in on our daughter's carriers, her ortho device with Dr. Ko. Look forward to our April Zoom check-in, which was unsolicited, but amazing. So we asked them, and then we forwarded it through the practice page. So not only did Kathy's friends all see that, but also everyone who follows the practice. A way to ask is something as simple as, people can be skeptical. Dear Mrs. Jones, people can be really skeptical about virtual appointments. It'd be great if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience to boost their confidence that it works really well, and I'd really appreciate it. So in order to leave time for questions and answers, we're going to pause here and shift back to see what you all have asked, and we'll try to answer those questions. Just before we do that, if you have specific questions or you want to learn more about people in practice, you can email my dad, leon@pplpractice.com, or visit our website. And you can subscribe to our marketing newsletter there. Right now, we've turned it into essentially like, COVID-19 strategies that you can sign up for. And you can also listen to our podcast, The Survival Guide for Orthodontists. It's on the website as well, where we interview the CEO of dental monitoring and lots of different consultants, getting their perspective on how to handle what's happening right now. So we hope that you find it helpful. All right.
Thank you,
Pass it
Dr.
back over to Marie. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. A couple questions. The first one was related to sending out a list of the remote patient monitoring tools. I know you showed them But we can
We have
definitely
that. Yeah, you
do
know
that.
what? We can send you, we have a Google Doc that we update periodically. And so we can send that to you and maybe you can distribute that out afterward. If there's the opportunity to send attachments or follow-ups, we can figure that out and get that out. Or you can
Okay,
email Leon at pplpractice.com. We'll be happy to send that to you.
very good. Thank you. And the other question was, how are patients responding? You just addressed it at the end, but as you're doing those virtual consults, how are patients responding during that
So
communication online?
we are talking to our clients more frequently than ever before, and we're finding that the feedback is surprisingly and overwhelmingly positive. The simple act of reaching out and asking how they're doing, they're really not getting that from too many other providers. I think it's an unexpected and extremely positive experience. We have not had anything negative yet happen, nothing. Most of it is really, really positive. I would add to the whole discussion of seeing your patients virtually, so virtual appointments, that don't make it optional. Don't, see if they are interested in meeting with you virtually because you can do that. Rather, we look forward to seeing you at your next appointment. Here's how it's going to work. We'll see you then. Providing it as an option is like a sort of weaker second level, if you're interested, we're here, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, we're going to see you, we look forward to it, and here's how we do it. And when you do that, you get everybody showing up and really positive feedback from it.
It's the human nature, the authenticity, and presenting it to them in a way that they can follow and expect.
Exactly.
Okay, so there was a question, what is your company's name? But I think it was right when you were popping up this slide. So People in Practice.
People and Practice.
And your company, anyone can contact you there. Where can I get the video showing patients how to take the photos? We can work with you to get that out unless you have it on another venue.
Yeah. We'll send I guess a list of all of the resources at the end to you, and we can get that out to everybody, or you can of course always email us if there's something specific that you're after. But sure, we can get that out too.
Okay, great. So those are the questions. So I want to say thank you to you and Dr. Klempner for your expertise and the tools and processes and verbiage. I think what matters most is the level of kindness and consideration and the sensitivity. So I personally appreciate the way you're approaching this, and I can imagine that the patients absolutely do too. So for new patients, it's great solutions and taking care of your current ones, because a lot of people are wondering, what do I do now? So thank you for your resourcefulness, and a lot of people feel like the world is stopping, and you're creating resources to make sure that the world can continue going and people feel cared about. So thank you. We are going to wrap up. The presentation will be recorded. It has been recorded. You will be able to find it on henryscheinorthodontics.com/webinars within the week. So we are recording it, and you can go back and visit the website and have access to the recorded. So thank you very much. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and we'll follow up if there are any questions after this as well. So thank you.